time at dawn, the sun begins to rise. With my shovel in my hand, I'll chase that golden prize. Each step's a treasure found, a story waiting to unfold. In a wild and rugged land, where legends are told. The hills are whispering, calling out my name. With dreams of gleaming nuggets, I'm wild and untamed. There's golden in their hills, oh can't you see? With picks and shovels we'll create our legacy. It's not just the treasure, it's the thrill of the chase. With every trail we wander, we find our rightful place.
Hey, welcome everybody, Gold Fever Radio. I'm Jack Tucker. It's another Wednesday. It is, heck, I don't even know what day it is. It is May, let me look up there, May 21st. Welcome everybody. I've got to get over to the comments section over here first right there as you guys are coming in. There's Lisa right here. We got a guest tonight. We got the infamous, the one, the only world-renowned Terry Carter. I don't know if you guys can believe that or not, but yes, we do. Well, you know what I got to do? I better put my hat on. I want to say something though, okay? Can I say something? You know, you like these cool stickers? I know some people, somebody told me these shirts they didn't like them shirts. Do you like that shirt?
Why didn't they like the shirt?
I don't know. Somebody said they didn't like the shirt.
I told you a long time ago, who wouldn't want a shirt with your likeness on it?
I'm telling you. So what I thought tonight, I'm going to give away one of those shirts tonight.
Well, I hope you give it away to somebody who likes the shirt.
Me too. Well, they got to say, I love it. And then they'll have to give me a number. And I wrote a number down too. But anyways.
Can they say, I like it, I love it, I want some more of it?
That's right. I love it. I just want to see who's all here. Here's Paul. Here's Guy. Richard Duke. Hello, Richard. Janon, Martin, I. Hello, guys. Billy Z. Jay Bolfer. Hello. Hope all's well on the East Coast. Hillbilly Bob. And Martin, I like mine. I'm glad you guys like them. Anyways, the one, the only. Let's bring him in right here and get started, okay?
Okay.
Right there. Look at that. Oh, Terry Carter himself.
The sun is shining where he is.
It is shining. I can't believe you'd give me a spill like that, man. I'm a nobody, but my claim to fame is I know a lot of great people, and you're one of them, Jack.
Oh, well, hey, well, thanks, bud. I got to show you something, Terry. We're going to talk about this in a little bit, but I know you've got a rendezvous thing coming up here in a couple months, and we're going to dive into more of that a little bit later, but I wanted to show you this here.
Cool.
It's a mug.
I love that mug. That's awesome. Did you have that made up?
I did.
That's pretty cool.
I thought about I should make a bunch of them and bring them. We'll sell them.
I agree. Yeah, you should.
And we'll sell
you know what
them.
I think you should do is you need to bring some of your prospecting stuffs, man, and do some prospecting demos.
I could do that too. you
should
do
that.
Talk about whatever you want me to do. But I heard you were setting up booths or something, so I thought maybe I ought to bring some like Mind Lab stuff and set up a booth or something, you know.
Well, I can't. I got Fisher is sponsoring us, so you can't bring any metal detectors because I've got a metal detector guy and it's Fisher only. But your prospecting stuff, you know, so bring your prospector stuff. But you can hand out all the cards you want.
You know what? I got Fisher stuff too, though. I'm a dealer for them all, man.
Yes, you are.
And you know what? Rob wouldn't care if I had Mind Lab stuff there at all.
You'd have to work that out with Rob because you know for them to help, you know, I wanted some of the big boys there, you know, and Fisher agreed to come, and I thought, well, man, I'm going to give you exclusives to it because you trusted in me to come on out and help us out, so I'm giving them the exclusive to it, you know. So
oh, absolutely. And they're the ones that help sponsor. I wouldn't do anything other than just sell equipment. I wouldn't have anything like demos or speeches or nothing like that. I wouldn't get involved with that stuff.
Well, you ought to bring some of your prospecting equipment out and give demos on them.
We'll talk about
it. Your all that stuff.
No, I thought about I'll bring like I don't know, like cups and different paraphernalia stuff, maybe, you know.
Yeah, do it.
There was a guy there last year. I don't know where they are. He had the laser printer, and I had him print me up a bunch of laser stuff.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
Anyways, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, since you said nobody knows you. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody what it is that you really do.
My name's Terry Carter. I'm a treasure hunter, out of place archaeologist guy. You know, that's what I love is digging into that type of stuff, the histories, the mysteries. But the biggest treasure to me, you know, is meeting the people all over the country, you know, and hearing their stories and getting to see artifacts and hear stories that you would have never ever seen or heard any other way, but to get out and meet them type of people, you know, to me that's a huge treasure to me. So I have a small YouTube channel and a small Facebook page. It's Terry Carter Treasure Hunter on YouTube and Terry L. Carter on Facebook.
I don't know if it's small. I think you got like close to 1 million followers now.
No, not even close. It's small. I think I got 100,000 on YouTube and 100 and something thousand on Facebook. So,
well, you know what? That's pretty big. Then once you get that plaque. So I'm sure you already got that plaque.
You know, I did get that YouTube 100,000 subscriber plaque, and that was pretty cool to get that. So that's a reward in itself, because it's pretty hard to do that. It's not that easy to get. You know, some people have an easy time out of it, but I had a tough time. It took me a long time, and I had a tough time at it, and I had to work hard to get it. Once I got it, then I kind of slowed down because I was working for that, but I finally got it.
So I know you talk to a lot of treasure hunters and you get a lot of information, and I know you know that's what you like to do. But in the treasure field itself, how did you ever get started in treasure hunting?
So back in '83, I went to work on a power plant out in Vernal, Utah. You're from Utah. You know where Vernal is, yeah. Jack. So anyway, so anyways, I went out to work on a power plant. They was building a power plant out there. And one of the co-workers I was working with started telling about his family was out there looking for the Lost Roads mine. And it's kind of a story where the Spaniards came into the area. They enslaved the Indians, worked them to death. The Indians didn't like that program, so they revolted against the Spaniards, massacred them, drove them out, and took all the gold bars, all the gold mines, the silver mines, hid everything up. And so there's all this gold and silver out there hidden up, all these mines hidden up. And I hunted in them UNAs, so I knew them areas, and some of the things that they was talking about, I'd seen some of that stuff. So it was just another excuse for me to get up into the mountains, you know, and I was instantly hooked, and I've been doing it ever since. And it's expanded from the UNA mountains into, you know, all over the country.
Well, that's pretty good then. So I'm looking in here. So if anybody's got any questions, like you guys want to know where the Spanish mines are at and all that, if you got any questions for Terry, just go ahead and post them, and I will pass them on. Let's see, what's that?
I see, Ben. I wasn't even looking at this, but I said Richard Duke says hello, and hello back, Richard, and
Janon says cool hat.
Cool hat, man. This is the company I work for, the Brahma. How do I do this? The Brahma Group. So yeah.
You're still working?
Man, I got it made, Jack. I only got to work till I die, and I'm almost there.
Yeah. Let's see. Josh Cooper, Shaw's Mining. Lisa went off and back in. There's she's back.
I know. That's the weather here. The weather is very bad.
Where are you at?
Who, me?
Your feet don't fit no limbs, yeah.
I'm in New Jersey.
You know what I was going through today? Look at this old picture, Lise, that I found.
Oh, I love that picture. I love that shirt. That
Remember
is,
that picture? You remember this picture?
oh my God. I must have been 10 years old in that picture.
Terry knows all them people. It's Tom
Wow.
and Perry and Wilma,
Who?
the Massies, you know.
Oh, okay. So I'm kind of at a disadvantage here, Jack. I don't know that I've ever met Lisa Tucker. Who's Lisa Tucker?
That's me.
I think, Lisa, how you doing? I think this is the first time I've met you.
I
This
think
is
it
true.
is.
This is true.
Why don't you guys introduce yourself?
We just did. Move along, Jack. Move along.
You know, so I sold the campground and I bought a house in Kingman. So I live in
Did you?
Kingman.
Did you really?
I did.
Congratulations.
I'm unboxing things and putting stuff away. You know, my brother, I sent him a picture that I had this old television set that we bought once upon a time. Each of us bought these little TVs and it said Radio Shack on it. And he said, dude, you don't throw anything away. I don't. I have a hard time throwing things away. So check these out, this here. So I'm going through my stuff. Look at some of these old phones I've got. This was a cool phone. Remember that?
Yeah.
And the old Motorola. Hello, Moto. These Blackberries, I must have really liked these Blackberries because these are pretty cool.
Man, you found the box of phones, huh?
Yeah, and this one here that was pretty cool. But my favorite one was this one right here. A little computer. It's a little computer. And the thing is, cool. It turns on even.
Man.
I know.
Why in the world would you have packed those phones?
I'll tell you why I kept them. Because they got pictures on them. There was pictures on here from 2007 when I was in Alaska.
Pull the pictures out and get rid of the phone.
I would. This one has Elvira on it, so. So. Anyway,
cow,
Terry,
man, you got some phones.
Have you yourself ever went on a treasure hunt and actually found some gold bars or something?
I have never found any gold bars, but I'm looking for gold bars. But I've been on a lot of treasure hunts, and I've had my heart pounding a bunch, but it's usually turned out to be nothing. But I've had my heart pounding a lot.
So my thinking is, so when I go out there, you know, I'm going to stay at Mike's place just because that's such a cool camping spot right there, you know.
Yeah.
And Mike's pretty knowledgeable about that area, and he says we're going to go out and do some exploring.
Depending on what my work situation is, and I'll try and finagle it, but I've got some exploring for us to do. I've got some great exploring for us to do.
Well, you know, I've got some heavy duty detectors, deep seeking stuff, and drones, all types of stuff we can. Daryl Lane says hello.
Hey, Daryl, how you doing?
He's coming out. He'll be there.
Daryl's coming out. There's a lot of people coming from all over the country, man. This is going to be a great event.
When is this event? Actually, for those that don't know, tell us about this event.
So it's called the Moon Lake Gathering. It's been going on for 25 years or something like that, but it was under a different name. But we moved it out to the Moon Lake area and called it the Moon Lake Gathering. But this year, you know, last year and the other years, we've had it outdoors in that park, you know, and I've always had to worry about having thunder showers or winds or too hot. But this year, man, we got a blessing. It's costing us a little bit, but hardly next to nothing, man. So that we still have this free for people. Just ask for some donations if people can come. You know, if they can't do a donation, that's just great. Just come anyway and just come and meet the people. But it's at the Duchesne Event Center, so it's, man, you could almost walk to it from where you're going to be at with Mike's place. So, anyways, we're going to have treasure hunting, Bigfoot, and UFO. We've got main speakers coming in and breakout speakers talking, and that's just to draw people in. But the real thing is just to meet everybody from all across the country, and there's usually some great connections made at the Moon Lake Gathering. I know several different people that made great connections and went out on some great treasure hunts. We had a producer from Canada that was out there, and another producer. And the one from Canada, they got that show about Slumax Gold. I forget what it's called, but there's just a lot of great people from all over the country, and man, it's just a great event to mingle with people, and stuff like that. So,
yes, that is. I mean, I only got I've always heard about it, but I didn't ever have the chance to go out there. And finally, one day I said, I'm going to make it this year, and that was. Let's see.
Last year.
Was that the only year I made it last year? Was that it? I guess so, huh? Or was I there the year before?
I think you made it the year before also. Yeah, I think you've been out there twice.
And so it is. It's a lot of fun, and I'll make sure I'm there again this time too, because it is fun. There's a lot of people there, and like you say, the speakers and the different, the things you I mean, if you're into that, if you're into Spanish and you're into treasures and you're into the camaraderie and that whole gambit, there's a wealth of knowledge too.
Yep. I don't know if I said it's August 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2025. Man, it's going to be a great time. We're lining up some big keynote speakers, and we got a lot of breakout speakers. We got a guy that's going to be there that's going to do a 2-part session on how to interpret and follow Spanish treasure signs and symbols, and watch out for the death traps. We've got KGC treasure stuff's going to be going on. We got a guy that's bringing some artifacts, going to be talking about some of the artifacts that have been found in some of the mounds, the out of place archaeology, the giants, these ancient records, these, they're just a lot of stuff, and I don't have my notes with me, so I'm sure I'll forget something. We got Dan Dillman will be there from, he was on the show Tracking Down the Aztec Treasure. Robert Kreider, he's been doing big for us, but he's also a treasure hunter. He's worked on the treasure trove laws and the treasure trove permits and things like that. We got Ryan Burns, who owns the ranch just right next to Skinwalker Ranch. And their fence line butts up right to each other. And he's had some strange things happen at his ranch. One of the strange things that happened at his ranch is he's got it locked up in a gate, and he had this metal connex there. And one day he comes up and this connex is flipped 90 degrees. And the gate's locked. There's no tire marks of a forklift. These connexes are big. It takes a big forklift to move these things around. No tire marks, no nothing. The thing was just flipped 90 degrees from where he left it. And somehow, I don't know how, but he put a pair of pliers up against it, had them in his hand, and was doing something, opened the door or something. And the plier stuck to the connex. The coal connex is magnetic, Wow. There's some strange things going on there. So we got that along with Alien Dave, who's been doing a lot of research and investigation of Area 52, the Utah area thing connection, and a bunch of treasure hunting stuffs. And man, I wished I had my notes with me. I can't remember everything. You got me flustered here, man. I'm not good at on the spot.
I never heard of Area 52, so that's interesting. So Richard Duke, I know we talked about, he says, where is Moon Lake? It's not at Moon Lake anymore, but.
Yeah, originally we was gonna have it at Moon Lake, and the Forest Service got wind that too many people was coming up. That first year we had it, I think we had 300 or 400 people come, and then the next one was 4 or 5, and but the Forest Service got wind that we was having all them people come in, and they put a kibosh onto it, so we had to move it down to the city park at Altamont. But like I say, this year it's going to be indoors, man. It's a great event center they got there in Duchesne, man. This is going to be It's going to be great. Climatized. You don't got to worry about the wind, the rain, the too hot. It's going to be a great event.
That's right. So I was there for that 2 years, because that's when we walked around Moon Lake, and with Dale gave a tour walking around showing stuff.
I seen I seen a video. I missed that tour, but I seen a video of that. Somebody put their drone up. Maybe it was you. I don't know. And shown the line of, man, there must have had 100 people following him. I thought, holy cow, man, we overloaded Dell, and there's no way them people could have heard what Dell was saying, because the line was probably a half mile long. I thought, holy cow, they just got a nice little walk was all they got.
Yeah, you had to kind of run to keep up in the front till you could hear anything, and then kind of people branched off on themselves. So that's anyway. So yeah, it's not. But Moon Lake, there is a lot of history around Moon Lake, though. And why is that?
So some of the main drainages in the Uinta Mountains funnels all right down there from Moon Lake. You got the Rock Creek drainage, the Moon Lake drainage, and the Yellowstone drainage. There was a lot of Spanish activity in them areas, and it all funnels right down into Duchesne, so we're not far from that stuff. And it's just where the Spaniards had a lot of mining activity going on,
So I'm just reading here. Randy's Treasures, Hillbilly Bob, Steve Blevins, Neil Young. Hello. I thought you had a question, Lisa.
You did?
Yeah, I thought you was going to ask a question.
No.
Oh.
I probably didn't answer where Moon Lake was. It's in the Uinta Mountains. It's kind of north of, kind of west of Vernal. It's in the Uinta Mountain area, right kind of smack dab in the middle of the Uintas there. So it's if you find Duchesne on the map, it's straight up from there, straight to the mountains from there. So
let me ask you this here then. I remember years ago, I'm talking years and years ago, my dad, being from Utah, talked a lot about Spanish treasures. And he gave me a couple books that he had about Spanish stuff. And he told me, he told me one time, him and a friend, they were out in this lake someplace, they were fishing, they fly fished a lot, and they're out in this lake, and his friend saw something on the bank that didn't look quite right. And so he went over there and he moved it or whatever. And my dad said, and inside there was Spanish stuff in there. They knew it was Spanish immediately, and they didn't know really what to do. So they covered it back up, and they said they were going to come back later on. And he said when they went back, they couldn't find the spot again. It seemed like that's the story everybody says. They go back and they can't find it again. But so he's always kind of talked to me about Spanish treasures and all of that. So it was kind of in the back of my mind, but I really didn't get into it until after I got hooked up with people like Daryl and, stuff like that that were into this here. And then it just, everything kind of came. I mean, I was kind of into treasure hunting, but not really the Spanish and correlated. But anyways, my question is, I'm in Arizona. Arizona's right above Mexico. Arizona's big in Spanish. Why was there so much Spanish in Utah?
So it wasn't just in Utah. It was all over. It was in New Mexico. It was in Arizona. It was in Texas, it was all over. Why you're thinking it's so much activity in Utah is just because maybe you watch my YouTube channel a lot and you hear me talking about it a lot, There was a large group of Spanish activity there. And the reason was when Cortez came in and conquered the Aztecs, the Aztecs took they only got a little bit of the gold that the Aztecs had. The Aztecs took the rest of it to their ancient native homeland, which is at the base of a great salty lake. And there's a bunch of different clues to it. Well, that great salty lake, a lot of people think is the Great Salt Lake. Well, the Spaniards tracked them to the Uinta Mountains. And then when they started seeing some of these Indians, they had some wars with some Indians. They killed a few of the Indians, and the Indians had some leather pouches around their neck. and they opened up them little pouches and they'd see a couple gold nuggets in them, large gold nuggets. And so they started capturing the Indians and started torturing them and to find out where these nuggets came from and finding out where this Indian sacred gold was coming from. And then they started venturing out, and they had over 100 mines there in the Uinta Mountains, the Spaniards did, you know. So, but you've got the same thing going on in Arizona, the same thing going on in New Mexico, the same thing going on in Texas, the same thing in Mexico. You know, it's just that some of this stuff, it's just how much you hear of it and how much of it got documented.
Well, I can understand, like Arizona, we got gold, but Utah's not known for gold, you know?
So yeah, when you get into the Uinta Mountains, man, there is no gold. It's fine. It's flour gold, and it's because these mountains are so new. They're not wore down like the mountains you got, you know? They haven't eroded and deposited some of the gold all over the place. So when you find a spot, man, it's a rich up thermal, you know, where it's part through to the surface, and that's what the Spaniards found through the help of the Indians, through the help of reading the plants, doing a type of dowsing, doing, you know, they found a lot of these, and where it just came up, where it hasn't eroded and deposited the gold all over the place yet. It's just in specific spot, usually along the fault lines.
Well, I've heard that if there is any good gold there, Kennecott or whoever's already sealed it all up.
So Kennecott, you know, they're the largest gold producer in Utah, and it's because they move so much dirt and they get so much, you know, a bunch of copper, a little bit of gold, and a little bit of silver. But they move so much dirt, and their gold and silver, and that is all microscopic or flakes. You know, it's not hardly anything at all. You know, but because they move so much dirt, you know, I'd done a lot of work at Kennecott, and you know, those big, huge haul trucks, man, the tires on these things are like 9 foot tall. They've got 100 of them things running around the mountain all day long, getting loaded up and taking it to get processed, and you know, so that's the flour gold stuff's really what they're after, is the copper. But Kennecott's one of the few that gets everything. They don't just go after the copper. A lot of these other mines, you know, you got the same thing in Nevada. You got all these gold mines here in Nevada that they just get the flour gold too. You know, I was told, I work at a lot of these gold mines, and I was told that, man, if they get 3/8 of an ounce to the ton in gold at some of these gold mines, man, they're not set up to handle anymore. They're happy if they can get that much. You know, it's just that they move so much dirt to get to it.
Yeah. Well, there's more small gold out there, fine gold, than there is large gold. You know, when I grew up as a kid, so I'm talking in my earlier teens and later teens, I mean, my dad, my grandfather, my cousins, uncles, they all worked out at Kennecott, and they kept saying, oh, it's an excellent place. You ought to come and work, man. It's like $18 an hour or whatever, clear back then. I said, you know what? There's no way I'm going to get dirty. I want nothing to do with that. I'm white collar, you know. I'm a car salesman. I ain't no freaking ass miner. Man, did I make a mistake?
You know, you know, I'm an electrician, my trade, an industrial electrician, and I get to work in a lot of the processing plants for these gold mines, and Kennecott's one of them. I was in there doing their presses for where they pressed out. They put it in a solution and press it out into gold and silver, and I got to be in their gold room, you know, when they was pouring some of that stuff, and they let me hold it one time, and Kennecott's refines them to 0.999 pure. All the other places, they don't do that. They only get it to 85, 89, 90% pure, and then they ship it off to have it refined. Used to be by Johnson Matthey, but so they've been bought out by somebody else. But they Kennecott let me hold one of their bars. Their gold bars is 24 pounds. And at the time, gold was just $1,000 an ounce. And they got finished polishing it, pouring it, and polishing it and that. And they says, you want to hold this? And I go, yeah. So they let me hold the 24-pound gold bar. They said, you're holding $440,000 right there. Now, that's back when gold was just $1,000 an ounce. You know, here I was working at a mine here in Nevada near Winnemucca, and I was working in their gold room, and they let me hold one of their gold bars. Their gold bar is 85 pounds, And it's not pure though. Theirs isn't pure. There's only like 89%, 90 something percent, you know. But theirs was 85 pounds. And I says, what's this worth? And I think gold at the time was like 1,500 an ounce. I can't remember, something like that. They told me you're holding $1.3 million right there. Well, now gold's, man, like $3,300 an ounce. So, man, imagine what it's worth now.
Yeah, unreal. I don't even have my phone. I couldn't even do the market prices.
Daryl Lane says, don't forget about California Spanish. And yeah, I forgot about California. They was in California too. Yeah.
Yeah, we were chasing some Spanish stuff, Daryl. Thank you very much. I remember, so my dad was telling me a story one time about Kennecott, that there was this old guy, I guess in the beginning, they used to use burlap sacks, and this old guy would come in and take the sacks once a week or whatever, and he'd clean them up for them and bring them back. And that went on for the longest time until they realized that what this guy was doing, he was getting the gold out of these burlap sacks or whatever that they were using in their cleanups or something.
I don't doubt that. That must be a good way. I heard the same story as somebody did that in the Green River. They strung a rope across and was putting these burlap sacks across there, and they was capturing some of that microfine gold and getting gold out of it that way. So that burlap must be a good way to capture some of that stuff.
Well, in the old days, that's what they used. You know, they didn't have miner's moss and stuff like that, so they used burlap. And my dad was saying one time, he told me that I guess they got this long trough that goes down where all the material, the slurry or whatever, comes down. And he had this gold pan and he stuck it in there, and there's a bunch of people all right there. He's panning this stuff out, and he shows the guy next to him. He says, look, there's the gold. And this other guy, I guess he's a foreman or whoever it is, he says, okay, yeah, there's gold there. Now what you going to do with it? And he says, they just dumped it back in the water there.
Oh, yeah, these places, if you get caught taking anything, man, you're done. Your history, man, charges are filed on you. Yeah, they're serious about their gold. They don't want anybody. If you find a chunk laying on the ground, man, you just leave it there.
Billy says 33.20 right now. So out of all the Spanish stuff that you know, you've talked to people, or what do you think is probably the most interesting story that you've ever heard?
I had a friend, and he's passed away now, so I can tell this story. He found 400 Spanish gold bars. The smallest one was 12 pounds. He let me hold it. It wasn't pure. It was only like 50, and I can't remember the exact numbers. It was like 58% gold, and then the rest had a lot of copper, lead, iron, whatever else in it, you know. But man, that was a pretty exciting find for him. You know, that's a find. As far as treasures, there's a lot of great treasure stories out there all over the country. You know, I'd have to think about it, but there is a lot of great stories out there, and it just ain't centralized to one area. You know, there's a lot of great stories out there.
So when I come out there, we're going to go on some of these treasure hunts then, huh?
So I've got an area, and it took me a long time to track it down. I've got an area where there was a train robbery, and they got 60,000 in gold coins. They robbed off of a train, and there was 4 or 5 of these outlaws, and when they robbed it in Wyoming, and they wired ahead, and they was seen going into a certain canyon, and then the posse, when they telegraphed ahead, the posse from Vernal was coming down through, and they met them, and they was seen going into this meadow, and they called it Jackass Park. Well, nobody knew where Jackass Park was. They seen them going in loaded down in Jackass Park, but when the posse met them out of Jackass Park, and they had a gun battle and all got killed, when they met them going out of Jackass Park, they didn't have the stuff on them. Well, it took me a long time to figure out where Jackass Park was, but talking to some of the old, and this was back in the 80s that I found this information out, found out from the old timers where Jackass Park was. So we're going to have to go up there and do some exploring. It's not an easy place to get to, but I say let's go up there and let's find these 60,000 in gold coins back in that day. Back in those days, it was 60,000 in the late 1800s.
All right, let's do it.
So I already did. I tracked down. I had a theory. There's a spring that comes out of there, and I thought, well, man, they just chucked them in the spring. And so I took my metal detector and ran it all through there, and I started finding some old 45-7 cavalry bullet brass. And come to find out, doing more research on it, the cavalry was stationed there to keep the telegraph lines going. And so this was it. Right now, it's a rugged place to get, but it was the only way to get from Vernal to Wyoming. This was the only way, and it was known as one of the roughest roads in America. And so we'll have a good time.
Did Mike tell you about the? I guess he went out there. He found this place where they had this shootout. I guess these robbers had the gold or whatever, and
yeah.
Supposedly they're crosses. So we went out there and metal detected, and we found where he said was probably the lawmen or the robbers, because of the bullets we were finding, and then we were finding snaps and buttons, stuff like that. But we never did find any of the treasures, or anything hidden. We tried to use those Polaroid cameras for the flares and different things, but yeah. So that Mike, he took us on this. Did he tell you about this, where this rancher went over and hit all these things? He had us crossing this water, this stream up to our freaking elbows, going across this river, looking for some crap. That guy will take you on some adventures.
Mike's a diehard treasure hunter, man. If he hears the stories or knows the story, man, he's gone. It doesn't matter where it's at or how you got to get there. He's gone.
Yeah. But so anyway, so we're supposed to do some treasure hunt stuff. So I'm going to spend probably about 3 weeks out there maybe and do some stuff. So you'll have to, that's if Lisa will let me go.
You can go.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody
said earlier, why is Lisa in New Jersey for? She's visiting. She'll be back next week, huh?
Why not? Why wouldn't you be in New Jersey? Nothing wrong with
New Jersey. Peter Toby is from New Jersey. He's an interesting guy. Peter, do you know Peter? Man, he knows all the treasure salvers from Florida and has got his hands in a lot of different things. He's a great guy to get to know. Peter Toby is, yeah.
I know, what is it, Mark Littleton? I think, no, he's in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be on the show a while back, and then I think he had the accident, or he's, with this kid, I think it was.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. Scuba diving.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, so then he didn't make it. So Daryl says, if somebody has a handheld XRF at Terry's Treasure Show, I'll bring the wired bar I found. It's assayed with gold, silver, platinums, etc. Weighs over 7 pounds. Now Daryl's one will chase a dream.
Yeah. I'll tell Greg to bring that XRF gun, and we'll go from there. But you was talking about weird stories and whatnot. There's all kinds of stories. You was talking about your dad seeing something in the lake. Well, there's all kinds of stories that one of the things the Indians would do, they'd massacre a Spanish group and they'd take the gold bars, the silver bars, and they'd chuck them in the lake. So, it's a very good possibility that they did see something.
I don't know. Well, I know that Daryl's the one that said the story, yeah, Daryl, you should remember this. He said he saw at breakfast one day, somebody was talking about he saw a Spanish sword in this one area, or that's where they said they were. So we went out there one time with Robert and Daryl and tried to look around. We didn't really find anything, but we ended up on another adventure, found a bunch of old mines in that. But that's kind of in that same area where I found that voodoo doll thing at.
Oh, cool.
So that was kind of weird.
So you're talking about Daryl Lane, and Daryl's got some stories that he just doesn't tell everybody. He's got a lot of great adventures, but he's got some real adventures that he just doesn't tell everybody. He doesn't want people to know. So I can't talk about his adventures because they're hush hush, top secret, and they're personal to him. But Daryl's one heck of a treasure hunt. And if you're coming to the Moon Lake Gathering, man, you got to get to know Daryl. He's a wealth of information.
Yes, he is. He'll steer you one way or another. Sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right, but he'll definitely steer you. What I learned about Daryl. So one time Daryl says to me, "You've been out there. You saw the mystery hole out there. Remember?"
Yeah.
So he tells me one time, he says, "Come out here. Tell me what you think." So I go out to this mystery hole. He's got this other guy. I never know who this other guy was, but this guy's got a shovel and he's digging down. And Daryl's saying, "Over to the left a little bit." "Oh, yeah, okay, that's good. Down a little deeper." I'm sitting here and I'm watching this. And finally I thought, you know what? Daryl brings these people out and have them do all the work for him. Another guy named Robert. No, whatever his name was that went back to California. Daryl had him doing all the work for him until finally this guy said, "I got to leave, Daryl. I can't keep digging for you." And I'm thinking, Daryl is one smart cookie. He gets everybody to do his work for him.
There you go. Daryl's done a lot of research, and you just don't go out and just start putting a shovel in the ground. You got to do a lot of research, a lot of, thinking and pondering and putting two and two together. So Daryl's done a lot of that. He does a lot of deep thinking, a lot of deep digging, a lot of deep researching.
So, the mystery hole, you know what that mystery hole was, right?
Is that the one with the pipe coming out of it?
It was a hole going down, just a hole. And you ran your toolbox around there. Thought it was another cavern around there or something.
In California?
No, in Arizona. It was just a hole in the ground. It had the coffee can lid on it, like.
Oh, yeah.
So I metal detected around there, and I found some sea rations in the tin cans. Then Robert found some dead dummy landmines, I guess they were.
Yeah.
Another guy was telling me that area had military out there, like General Patton was out there for a small group of time. That mystery hole in the ground, I believe, was a flagpole where they stuck their flag down into.
Oh, really?
That's what my belief was. Military.
You got me. You just remind. I got a lot of great stories, but I forget them. Wait till you get my age, Jack. Man, you'll have that same problem.
I'm already your age. What do you mean?
You just reminded me of one. I went out to Arizona to I was probably an hour outside of Lake Havasu, and I was metal detecting for gold nuggets. And it turned out that was an area where Patton did a lot of his training. So I found a ton of 50 caliber brass and lead, and I found a bunch of it. And there happened to be another guy out there that was hunting too. And so I got talking with him, and he reached in his pocket and threw something in front of my metal detecting coil, and I swung it over it, and it went off, and I picked it up. Man, it was a gold nugget that, how does this camera? It fit in the palm of my hand. It was 1 pound. Wasn't pure gold, but it had a lot of rock on it too. But it was heavy. It had a ton of gold in it. And I said, "Man, where did you get that?" Well, this guy started telling me that he lives 6 months out of the year in Australia, and he makes enough money in the 6 months finding these nuggets in Australia. And then he comes back and sells them. And this was in the late 80s, and sells them as specimens and makes enough money to live for 6 months. And then he goes back, for another 6 months, but he just sold one just prior to that one. I can't remember how much he sold it. It was a little bit bigger, he said, but that was pretty cool, holding that big man palm-sized nugget. I mean, it was huge. It was big. That was pretty cool.
You didn't get to keep it?
Heck no, he wouldn't let me keep it, but it was just cool just to hear it, see it, and hold it, and hear the story about it.
Good. Desert prospector, glad you made. When we were out there one time, Lisa keeps disappearing. She says she's got bad internet. When we were out there one time digging, I had this big ass fake gold nugget painted, and I buried it. And then I've got the dowsing, and I said, Daryl, you got a metal detector? Check this over here, And he goes over there, and I said, you better dig that up. He digs that up. He pulls that out of the ground. He's like, his eyes get this big. He thought he found a big ass gold nugget.
I had a long time ago, I used to sell rent metal detectors, prospecting equipment back in the late 80s, early 90s, more middle 80s maybe. I don't remember. Anyways, I had some replicas made up of some coins that come off the Etosha. They was made out of pure silver, antique silver, but they was replicas of the coins that come off the Etosha. And then I got some copper nuggets that came out of Michigan, or out of the Great Lakes. Yeah, Michigan, the Great Lakes area. And I had them gold plated. So they looked like real gold nuggets, Well, I sold some and gave some to a guy, and he started going around telling them to people that he found real gold, had real, Spanish coins, and it was all, man, it was all a lie, So you got to be careful of some of the stories out there. Some of them stories are lies.
Hey, so in Utah, have you ever found any like the Spanish reals and stuff like that?
I haven't, but I had a guy. 2 years in a row, he was there. Well, you've seen him last year. He found some coins just like you did. In that same canyon that I'm talking about, where they seen these outlaws going up. They seen loaded down. He found some of these. He found a whole handful of them, and I don't know what they are. They looked old to me, but it's the same kind of coin what you found. Were they Spanish?
Well, the guy that I forget who was there that I showed them to, he told me what they called them was face coins, and they went by, I guess, like weight or something like that is what they stand. But he said they were like King George or whatever the heck they were, some weird thing. I don't remember what he said they were, but he's the one that told me they were something like that.
So Gene Carter, he came out not last year but the year before, and they went up to an area there in the Uintas. And he just happened to look down on the ground in the Una Mountains there, and he found one of the old coins like that. I've never found a Spanish real or anything like that. I found something in along the coast in Duck, North Carolina, and I gave it to my grandson. It was corroded, so I couldn't see what it was. And he gave it to his mother, and she moved to Italy, and in her move, they somehow, somebody got into her stuff and took it. So I never did get it clean to see exactly what it was. But other than that, no, I've never found anything like that.
Well, I'll donate some of these tumbler things for you for whatever you do. Don't you do raffles or different things like that?
Yeah. Yep. Well, cool.
So I'll bring some. I'll donate.
I'm glad you're coming, Jack, because you're a wealth of knowledge, and there's a lot of people from all over the country come to this. That there's a lot of wealth of knowledge, and one of the things, I think to myself, man, why do I put myself through this every year, putting this on? Because it's a lot of work, and we do not make one dime off of this. I have to buy my own food while I'm there. I have to buy my own hotel. I have to do my own traveling, just like everybody else. And our speakers, they donate their time. We don't make any money. What we do is it all goes towards this. And if there's any money left over, we use it for the following year. We don't make one dime, but it does cost us money. That's why we ask for donations, Last year, I was telling everybody, there is a lot of great stories goes on, but you'll never, you don't know, because these people, they don't want to tell everybody, so they'll get in a little circle and start telling a few people. So I told people, I says, if you see 2 or 3, 4 people huddled around talking, if you're shy and you don't want to introduce you, just go stand by them and listen to the stories. Well, last year I had a lady come up to me and she says, Terry, man, I did what you told me. And she says, I had the most wonderful time. I says, what did I tell you? And she says, just go up and listen. If you see people standing around, just go listen. She says, I heard the most incredible stories. She says, I would have never, ever heard anything like that. She says, I will never miss another one of these. that made it worth it to me, that made it worth it to me right there, and that's what the true treasure is getting to meet people, hearing stories. And some every now and again, you get to see some artifacts that people bring out. They don't show it to everybody. They'll just show it to a few people, but just keep your eyes and ears open, and you never know what you're going to hear, what you're going to see, but you'll meet people from all across the country and have a great time.
So why don't you tell, so it's 3 days, so say the dates again and kind of give the layout or the itinerary, kind of what happens.
So it's August 14th, 15th, and 16th, the Duchesne, Utah Event Center. And I don't have the exact itinerary, and we still haven't got everything finalized, but we're going to have some main speakers every day. And then during the interim, we'll have some breakout speakers doing some breakout things, because we have people that are into Bigfoot, people into treasure hunting, people into UFOs. So we break it up into these breakout groups so they can go hear what they want to hear. They can hear the Bigfoot people's stories. They can hear the treasure hunting stories. They can hear the, and then we're going to have an open mic. I think Thursday night, we're going to have an open mic. So if somebody wants to tell their story, they can get up and tell their story. Or if somebody just wants to come and tell me their story, I'll be there, man. Grab me, man. Let's record your story and get it on video.
Oh, there you are. Let's see. So Rocky Mountain. Oh, Brad will be there.
Awesome, Brad.
Terry, I'll be there. What's out there?
Man, there's so much to do out there. Like I said, you're not that far from Skinwalker Ranch. We're not that far from Blind Frog Ranch. The Uinta Mountains, it's right in the heart. All the drainage is right there where there's a lot of Spanish activity took place. If you think you're just going to go up there and find something, all the easy stuff has been found. But people come in and think that. Just this winter, we had a guy fly in from Finland, and I don't know what he was thinking, but he flew in and flew into Salt Lake Airport, and then he hired a taxi driver, paid him $500 to drop him off at Moon Lake, and nobody's seen him since. He wasn't prepared for the weather. It started snowing, so I'm sure nothing's good. I'm sure whatever happened to him wasn't good, but it's an unforgiving area, and people will go missing, and so don't just go out there half-cocked and think you're going to find something. But there's a lot of stuff, and it's a beautiful area. There's a lot of cool things. Vernal has the dinosaur quarry there. There's the old I can't remember the ranch. Can't remember the ranch, but where Butch Cassidy and the Outlaws, Sundance Kid, used to hang out. They've made a kind of a tourist attraction. They still got the old dugouts, the old store, and some of the old things. You can see how they used to live back then. There's a lot of things, if you think about it, to look at. If you get to the Vernal area, go to the McConkey Ranch and see them petroglyphs there. They're the most spectacular petroglyphs in the whole United States, in my most humble but accurate opinion. These things are life-size, but not only are they pecked in and beautifully done, but they're also painted. And these things are life-size. These guys got breastplates and jewelry and crowns, and they're not like any Indian stuffs you've ever seen. These things are more like Aztec or Egyptians. These things are spectacular. There's a lot of things to do and see out there. So
that's in Vernal, the petroglyphs?
Yeah. If you haven't seen them, we need to make a trip out there and see them. Them things are spectacular.
I've never seen them. Desert Prospector, no, it's in August. August, what is it again?
August 14th, 15th, and 16th.
That's right. So put that on your calendar and plan to be there. If you want to learn some stuff, yes. Okay, cool. Cool de mundo. So, yes, so how, you don't live out in that area. Where do you live at? You live?
I live... I'm a couple hours from there. I'm 30 miles south of Salt Lake is where I live.
30 miles south of Salt Lake. So that would be around the Provo area or
Yep.
something there.
Yep.
You know, I grew up in a town called Granger,
Ah,
which
up there
ain't
by
there.
Roy.
That's West Valley now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they changed the name of that. I went to like school in Hunter, which is all part of West Valley, and then I went to Kearns. I was big in Kearns, Kearns Junior, Kearns High. I was actually born in Murray. I shouldn't be saying all of this here, but when I first got married, I lived in Pleasant Grove, and my brother lived in
Hey,
Lehigh.
go Vikings!
I used to work at the state hospital right there on the dead corner up there. So I've been around that area. Then I realized Utah didn't have a fence around it and I could leave.
Well, Arizona's a nice place to go to. Hey, you know, I had to pull over because I'm in my truck, and so I don't have an outlet, and my computer's showing, man, I'm about drained. So if I lose you, man,
No,
it's not that I got mad at you. It's just that my battery died. So
no, we'll let you go. Tell everybody again your YouTube channel and all that can go and talk to you and the Moon Lake thing again.
So you can look me up on YouTube. It's just Terry Carter Treasure Hunter on YouTube. Look for the pirate crossbones patch over the eye skeleton looking thing, and on Facebook it's Terry L. Carter, and kind of look for the same pirate skeleton crossbones thing.
All right, Terry, we appreciate you taking some time and talking to us this evening.
Hey man, I'm honored that you'd think about inviting me, and thank you, and I can't wait to see you in August. We're going to have an adventure.
Anytime, I tell you what, anytime you hang out with you is an adventure. I have a hard time keeping up with it.
But, man, I have a hard time keeping up myself. You know, at the Moon Lake gathering, I'm so busy talking to everybody that I just don't really have a chance to really do anything or talk to anybody for very long. But I still get to meet a lot of great people. So.
Well, that's because you're the head attraction, and you're pulled. Everybody wants a piece of you, and you're pulled all over the place, you know. So that's just.
I don't know that, you know, my like I said, my claim to fame is that I just know a lot of great people, and Jack, you're one of those.
Oh well, hey, you're awesome, bud. All right, Terry, take care, buddy. We'll see you in a few.
Hey, Lisa, It was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
I know she's kind of shy, you know, she's quiet. All right, Terry, talk to you later. Thanks, man.
Hey, we'll see you guys all in August.
Yoo-hoo, go. Okay. See you guys. I'll show the cups again.
Bye-bye.
See you, Terry. Okay. Anyways, Terry he's a wealth of knowledge. He is a big thing. So I made these cups in case you guys didn't see them before, but that's what these cups are for the Moon Lake gathering thing. These, whatever you call these, tumblers, I guess. They're called tumblers. So I'm going to have them for sale. I'm going to make a bunch of them, sell them at the Moon Lake thing, but I said I would donate some for them to give away for their auction and stuff like that there too. So
I have one of those tumblers.
You what?
I have one of those tumblers.
You do? You probably have a special one, huh?
I have a special one, and I took it with me to work the past 3 days too.
Oh, so I was going to give away a T-shirt. Don't you have anything that you want to go over or anything?
I don't have anything that I want to go over. Well, it's just coincidentally that on today in history, in 1927, Charles Lindbergh landed in Paris for the first non-stop solo air crossing of the Atlantic. And then in 1932, Amelia Earhart landed in Londonderry, Ireland, completing the first solo transatlantic flight by a woman on the same day, just 5 years apart. I think that's, very coincidental.
Wow, that is coincidental.
Yeah.
So I can tell you the current gold price right now is 3323.90. Silver 3360. Platinum is 1082. And your favorite is 5,775.
Okay, I bet you everybody doesn't know what my favorite is, even though we say it every week.
What is it? Rhodium? Rhodium.
Yeah, rhodium. That's what it is.
Okay, so I got these T-shirts. I don't know what sizes I've got. I think I've got them in, what's this one here? This one is a medium. So I've probably got medium, large, extra large, and 2Xs is what I've got. So I said I was going to give one away.
Bound to fit somebody.
So I'm going to give this away.
Okay.
So what you have to do, I've got a number I written down right here on this piece of paper. The first one that says that number, for what you got to say is, I love it. That's if you want one. If you don't want one, then don't worry about trying to get one. But if you want a chance to win it, just say, I love it, and say a number. And the first one that says it will win it.
Oh my gosh, that's tough.
Is it tough?
Yeah.
So I'll try to keep an eye on the numbers.
Oh, can I see that?
Can you see the numbers?
If I might be able to, but then you won't see me.
Oh.
Let me see.
Okay, I just sent you the number.
Okay. All right, let me see if I can see.
I'm seeing numbers flying. I'm trying to keep an eye on them. So they tend to go fast through here. I may make a mistake. And if I do, then somebody else will say, oh, no, I said that number earlier. But send me the enter as many times as you want. Just keep going. Just keep going. Because I told you, somebody I heard said that they didn't like the T-shirt. All right, Steve, there it is right there. Steve Blevins got it.
No, Steve Collier got it before him.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Oh, I see. Okay. Steve Collier, you're right. Steve Collier. Whoa, Steve Blevins, you missed it by 2. Steve Collier got it. The number was 56. So congratulations, Steve Collier. Send me your shipping address, your mailing address, and the size. Email it to me, goldfeverradio@yahoo.com, or private message me and with your shipping address and size, and I'll get you out a T-shirt.
Or just come on over to the house and pick it up.
Yeah, or just come by the house and pick it up. Yeah, there you go. And Steve Blevins should get a T-shirt. Hey, oh, and I meant to say, so I went to Meadview. When did I go to Meadview?
The other day.
The other day, and I found a little nugget. It was 0.8. So I owed Steve Blevins a little nugget. So this little nugget that I found at Meadview, Steve, I'll give to you. How's that?
How very nice.
Does that work?
How very
Mr.
nice.
Blevins? Well, Mr. Blevins, he's a bicycle repair guy and has a bike shop, and he fixed my electric bikes up for me. And he said he didn't want anything. And I said, no, you got to have something. And he said, well, throw a piece of gold my way then next time. So I got a piece of gold here for you. And before that, I found a smaller one. I never did weigh my smaller one. It's just a tiny piece of thing. It's not even probably 0.3, maybe, if that 0.2 or 0.3, but the other one, that will work. Thank you. Okay, Steve. So when I see you, if I leave it with the guy in camp out there, I'm going out there Friday. I got to go back out there to check the mail, and I left my laundry there. So I'm going back out Friday. I'll be out there in camp. So if I don't see you then Friday, I will leave this with the guy in camp, and you can pick it up then. Okay. That works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you get a Gold Monster. No, I don't have the Gold Monster 2000 yet. I don't know. I heard they're not going to be out until later this year. We'll see how that works out. And then I heard that the release will be back, like Australia, wherever the hell they're at, I will be there Friday after 2. Okay, hopefully I'll already be gone by then. I have to be gone by then. So I'll just leave it with the guy in camp there, Steve. Because I'll probably be there like 10 and just be there for an hour or something, and then I'm out of there. And they're not going to be a PI. It's a new VLF technology. No, I heard it was a combination of PI and VLF, kind of combination of the two is what I heard. But they're not supposed to be out till later in the year. But I'll find out more about them. So anyways, what did you didn't that's all you had to talk about, Lisa?
Oh, well, it's National Strawberries and Cream Day
Oh, that sounds good.
and National Memo Day. So take a memo. And National Wait Staff Day. So be kind to your wait staff. Remember to tip them.
I wished I had some cheesecake. I went to the dollar store today to get some bread because
They can't possibly have cheesecake in the dollar store.
I bet you they did, but I didn't even look for it. I just had right down there real fast to find some bread.
So there's famous birthdays today too. Tell me if you know who these people are.
Okay.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
No, I never heard of him.
He wrote Sherlock Holmes. This one you'll know. Johnny Olson.
Was he a baseball player?
No, I'll give you a hint. Come on down.
Oh, he was the voice of behind Price is Right or something?
There you go. He was the announcer on Price is Right.
Oh.
Okay. It was, if I tell you Ted Kaczynski, do you know who that is?
Ted Kaczynski?
Ted
Was he the Unabomber?
That's who he was. See, the Unabomber you know, but you don't know who wrote Sherlock Holmes. That's pretty telling in itself.
No, Mr. Mindlab doesn't know all that type of stuff. Mr. Mindlab doesn't get all the
No.
all that type of stuff like that.
Okay. It's Tommy John's birthday today.
Don't know who that is.
Tommy John, he's a pitcher. He was a pitcher.
No, I don't know that.
Okay, and Novak Djokovic, who is a tennis player.
Okay.
That's their birthdays today. Yeah.
Now, if you told me people like Linda Carter and Farrah Fawcett and
not their birthdays today. Why would I tell you that way?
I would know who those people were. You know, I don't know.
You knew the Unabomber.
Well, because he lived in Kingman.
Did he really?
I think he did.
Seriously?
I think he did. Or one of them lived in Kingman.
One of who?
The Ted Kaczynski, somebody out there will know that. Did Ted Kaczynski live in
That's
Kingman?
not his name. It's Ted Kaczynski.
Ted Kaczynski. Which one of them people that blew up something lived in Kingman? He may have been the one that blew up the FBI building or something, or one of them. Anyway, one of them lived in Kingman. Somebody will know that. They'll Google that. Huh?
Really?
We would like to see those ladies in their birthday suits. That's right. Which bomber lived in Kingman?
Oh, there you go.
Siri, which bomber lived in Kingman, Arizona?
Do you want me to use?
Sure. I guess Siri doesn't know that question.
Here's an answer from ChatGPT.
Bomber lived Arizona. What? I'm not saying freaking which airplanes. You stupid.
Hey.
What was it? Ted Kaczynski? What was it?
Ted Kaczynski.
Hey, Siri.
Just say Unabomber.
Oh, it was Timothy McVeigh. Okay. Thank you, Janon. What did Timothy McVeigh, what did he blow up?
In Oklahoma.
Okay, so I knew there was something.
With the little kids in the
Kingman is famous. Kingman is what's her name? The girl with the big boobs. What's her name?
There's a lot of them. Be more specific.
The old actor that was in Baywatch and
Pamela Anderson?
Yeah, Pamela Anderson. She was in Kingman once, and she got arrested for indecent exposure back in the day, years and years ago. And they let her off. She had to do something and they let her off with whatever. But she was out here. But there was a wedding out here, and I think that's what Kingman was famous for, somebody's big wedding or something like that. Paul's going to tell us what that is. But I think somebody famous got married in Kingman. At least I should know that. Hey, Siri, what famous person got married in Kingman, Arizona?
Here's an answer from Explore Kingman.
Clark Gable and Carol Lombardi.
Carol Lombard.
Yeah. So they got married in Kingman.
Oh, that marriage didn't last very long.
No?
No,
well,
she
they got
died.
married in Kingman. So Kingman, and then Kingman has the airport where the all the bombs were, the what's his name? Patton was at. There's a big air or not air base, but air, whatever you call it, landing strip or whatever, airport out here. I guess that they use with all the planes were out here that bombed all over the place. Over there, all the shells around Franconia where they were practicing that.
Mm.
So new metal detector coming out. So like you heard him say, the Fisher people, I have to call Rob because I was planning to bring some mine labs up to sell some gold monsters to sell.
That's Spud Digger, Rob?
Yeah, Rob. Or no, Rob, you remember you used to work at White's and Fisher?
Yeah. Rob that I met.
Yeah, Rob what's his name? Not Gold Digger.
Spud Digger.
Spud Digger, yeah, Spud. So so he was there last year with Fisher, and he teaches, and they gave away detectors, stuff like that. So the raffle, I entered the raffle. They must have had 1 million tickets there to give away. On that, they've made some good money on that. So I'm going to have to call him to make sure it's okay that I bring my mine labs in to sell.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, so I guess that's everything we need to talk. So, Lisa, so there's a big announcement, I guess, going to be made. Is that next week, a big announcement to be made, or is that going to be the following week, the big announcement?
I don't know what big announcement you're talking about.
Is Fisher going to finally make their PI? Fisher's been talking about putting that PI out since 2 years ago, 3 years before COVID. Fisher's been talking about that PI, but we'll learn more about that PI. I'm going to call Rob to find out this here. I need to try to ask him questions. Anyways, we'll find out about that big PI announcement because as soon as they do, I got to get me one of them too. You probably won't. I think you're coming out here for a while, so maybe by next Wednesday. You may not make it by next Wednesday.
I won't make it by next Wednesday.
But the following Wednesday,
possibly,
you should be sitting right here.
Right where? On your lap?
Well, if you can do that, if you'd like to. We can start out that way.
People don't want to see that.
Oh, I bet you they do.
I don't think so. Don't think so. Nobody wants to see that.
So Lisa's done with her vacation there, so she'll be back home. So so she'll be starting her journey back here. 1973, there was a big propane explosion in Kingman. Also in May, I think it was May in 1943. I don't remember exactly the day, but a UFO crashed in Kingman, Arizona. And I did do a video on that. That's on the YouTube channel. That UFO that crashed in Kingman. They're along I-40 40. No, whatever that is right there, 74. Anyway, one of the highways, there's a big dome out there, a spear, and they used to have a museum there. So I went in there, I filmed the museum. They talked about the UFOs and that, and then I tracked down and found the one that crashed in Kingman, and I went out to that site and did some exploring around. I will be back there again one day because it's quite interesting. But anyways, there was the UFO, a couple UFOs. It was, I think, when they did the test bomb in Nevada, the big explosion, and that put off a lot of EMFs or whatever, and it blacked out a lot of planes and crashed a lot of planes. But supposedly, a few UFOs went down, and one or two of them was in Kingman. And you walked out. I walked out where? I'd already seen your new bathroom, Mark Knight. Mark Knight has been in the bathroom here before. Yes, you have. And the bedroom. So when I said, this is my office, so this is my office. And you walked out of the UFO. Oh, R. No, but it was quite interesting because I went on Google Earth and you could see where it looked like there were scrape marks and all of that, where they tried to get rid of it all, the history of it all. Okay. Anyway, so that's a big announcement we will have in the next couple of weeks.
We will.
Yeah, it'll be a big announcement.
No announcement.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
It'll be a big announcement.
No, there's no announcement.
Things are going to be changing around here.
Well, that is true.
There's going to be some big changes around here.
You better watch your step.
The best part of his new house is the massage chair. That's right. Roland likes
Did you move that freaking chair yet?
Huh?
Did you move that chair yet?
No, I didn't move the chair yet.
That chair better be moved soon.
And a parade. That's right. So instead of being on a separate screen, Lisa will be right next to me right here.
Again on your lap.
Well, you can be on the lap if you want. We'll start out that way.
Again, nobody wants to see that.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
They do not.
I pretty well got everything moved up here to Kingman. Pretty well. I'm going to go back.
Not everything.
Huh?
Not everything.
Well, I know you're still coming.
Ah.
You're on your way. So then everything will be here. Jack and Roland, a.k.a. Sanford and Son. Yeah, that's what Lisa says. She says, all my stuff out there better not be looking like Sanford and Son.
That's for sure.
I've got to clean up out there because there is a lot of mining stuff. You thought that was bad last time, Roland? You ought to see what's there now. I got even more stuff there.
Well, there might be a lot of changes when you come back from your trip in Utah. All that stuff might not be there.
Well, hey, as long as you get good dollars for everything, that's fine. All right, everybody. That's all we have to yak about tonight. Huh, Lisa?
Yeah.
Say hi. Lisa likes it when she is my ventriloquist doll. Because what she really likes is when I put my hand, to
excuse me? Watch yourself.
To make her talk. She talks really good there. Anyways, all right, guys. You guys all take care. Thanks for hanging with us, guys. Terry, thank you, Terry, for coming on, talking about it. We hope we see you guys out there at that treasure hunting's rendezvous. It's a lot of fun out there. So you guys all take care. So until our paths cross again, check out the YouTube channel, Gold Fever Adventures, and Facebook, Gold Fever Adventures. Everything's Gold Fever Adventures. Take care, everybody. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you all. And until our paths cross again, you guys all be safe.
Jack's got a shovel and a dream in his hands, staking claims neath the hot desert sand, chasing the glimmer of gold in the sun. Every hill climbed, it's a battle, but he's won. With friends beside him, he's never alone. Through valleys and mountains, they've made it their home. Treasure comes in the memories we make, in the laughter and stories our friendships create. Gold might be pretty, but it's nothing compared to the joy in the journey, the love that we share. They ride the ATV through the wide open plains, laughing and shouting, forgetting the pains. The wind on their faces, A taste of pure freedom in the heart of Arizona. They know they'll beat 'em. Life's a wild ride, they shout out so bold. Jack says you never slow down, you never grow. Treasure comes in the memories we make, in the laughter and stories our friendships create. Gold might be pretty, but it's nothing compared to the joy of the journey, the love that we share. Life's a hell ride, they shout out so bold. Jack says you never slow down, you never grow. Treasure comes in the memories we make, in the laughter and stories our friendships create. Gold might be pretty, but it's nothing compared to the joy in the journey, the love that we share. So here's to the gold in the lives that we hold. Jack's got his friends, and that's worth more than gold.